What's up, YouTube, man? Welcome back to my channel, man. You guys know what we do here, man. We break down, man, weird and creepy, scary videos, man, from TikToks, man, to IG videos, to even YouTube videos, man. Anything and everything you can find right here on this channel. Got a good one for you guys today, man, so don't want to waste you guys' time. Let's get into it.
This is a photo that was found on the ground outside of a convenience store in Florida in June 15th of 1989. And that picture to this day has still gone unidentified. They said that this is not your daughter. They did some type of forensic examination of the photo, and they came to the conclusion that that was not her daughter. The boy in the photo was thought to be this kid named Michael Henley, who went missing also in 1988, which was a year before. And if you look at these pictures side by side, you can see where the similarities come in. But once again, the cop said that's not him. What's crazy is that neither Michael nor Sarah have ever been found, and that picture to this day has still gone unidentified. It has never been identified almost 40 years later.
That's crazy, man, to think about. You know how advanced our technology stuff is, man. Still to this day, that picture has gone identified, man. You saw those kids, they were like wrapped up, man, the teeth and that, like freaking hand wrapped up as well, bro. And they couldn't find no evidence, man. That's crazy, bro. And that's kind of weird, man. I think something else might be going on there. Tell me what you guys think down below. That one, that's my head, bro.
This is the truth behind the tooth fairy. Now everyone knows who the tooth fairy is. Once you lose a tooth, you put it under your pillow and she comes in the middle of the night to take it and give you money. But what if I told you the tooth fairy is much more scarier than that? And that the tooth fairy has a much darker backstory. The story goes that a kid lost 2 of their teeth in the same day and proceeded to tell her parents that she lost both of her teeth. Now this was the first time she ever lost any teeth, so her parents told her what to do with them and put them under her pillow for money. So she proceeded to do that, and a couple hours later she was getting ready for bed. Her parents tucked her in and she was about to fall asleep. But that's when she sees her door creak open. It's super dark in her room so she can't see anything, but she squints her eyes to look at the doorway and sees something standing there. But then her door proceeds to fully open and you won't believe what was at the door. Hit the plus button for a part 2.
I was murdered on a Facebook live
edit,
stream
bro.
for no reason. This is my story. I am a 74-year-old man by the name of Robert Godwin. After making my way home after spending some time with my family on Easter, I was approached by a strange man. This man had recently gone bankrupt. This man and his wife had recently divorced. This man had lost everything on gambling. He had lost everything and was ready to make me lose everything. He came up to me with a camera pointed on my face. He told me to repeat the name Joylin after him. I did do it, but I was very confused. He then said, "Joylin is the reason you're dying today," and then he just shot me. My lifeless body was shared all over the internet, and the video the killer took is still being shared till today. My mother took his own life just before getting caught by the police.
3 urban.
Whoa, what the hell? Like I said, man, when I watch these videos with you guys, I learn new information all the time, man. But I didn't know he said his own mom, bro, caught with the killer and took his life. This is a truly evil act, man. You heard that story, man. Like, he got a divorce, he was bankrupt, and he just went on gambling, man. It shows you, man, if you keep going down that rabbit hole, bro, that dark rabbit hole, once you lose everything, man, people, they just don't care. They'll do the unthinkable, man. Tell me what you guys think about that case down below, bro. Insane, man.
And legends that turned out to be true. Number 1. In the 1980s, parents in Long Island terrified their children with the legend of Cropsey. He was a murderous man who lived beneath an abandoned school and would capture children. But it was later found that the old janitor of the school was still living on school grounds, and it's believed he was responsible for the disappearance of several kids, which made the legend of Cropsey true. Number 2. Charlie No-Face was the terrifying legend of a featureless man who would roam the streets of Pittsburgh at night. But it was discovered that this man did exist. His name was Raymond Robinson. He was a very nice guy, and he only left his house at night as he feared his deformity would scare people. Number 3. Legend has it that an escaped asylum patient roams near the Fairfax County Bridge where countless amounts of dead rabbits have been found. There wasn't any legitimacy to this legend until a couple drove through this bridge in the 1970s only to find a man dressed as a bunny who threw an axe through their windshield before they got away.
This is why you have to be careful who you let.
All those freaking urban legends and stuff, man. Turns out there's like some real stories behind it, man. Like I said, these stories and stuff that we be watching in the media sometimes, like, we may think, oh yeah, what the heck is this? Like, but it could be really based off something, man, that we never know, bro. Like that man who had that deformity, bro. How he had to just travel at night because he thought people were gonna be afraid. And he was right, man. They made a whole freaking horror legend story off of him, bro. Crazy, man. Like I said, we always gotta pay attention to these stories, man. Yeah, bro.
To your Halloween parties. So this is a photo of who police believed was a guest at a Halloween party in Rochester, New York in the 1940s. The party was being thrown by Jack and Amelia Layton, and they actually noticed that this guest was outside of the party watching the guests through a window. The report claims that Amelia believed the guest was her friend Jan, who tended to go above and beyond for Halloween, creating very scary costumes, so she let this person in believing it was her friend Jan. But then 20 minutes later, Jan shows up, and that guest could not be found anywhere. So Amelia starts running around the party asking everyone if they knew who that guest was, and no one had recognized that person. So she goes into her daughter's room, who was playing while the party was happening. And the police report states that the only thing there left of Amelia's daughter was a bloody shoe. 4 other reports of this guest being at parties that night were called into police, and all of them resulted in missing children's cases. The identity of this person has never been found, and none of the kids have been found either.
Mysterious death of tech entrepreneur Aaron Valenti.
That's so sad,
in
bro.
San Jose, and tonight her friends and family are expressing frustration about the police investigation in the hours leading up to her disappearance.
Have you ever heard of Aaron Valenti, a successful tech entrepreneur who mysteriously died in Silicon Valley? Her story is as intriguing as it is chilling.
Okay.
Aaron was a vibrant, ambitious founder known for her energy and drive. But in October of 2019, her life took a sudden tragic turn. Found dead in her car, but nobody knows how she died. Aaron's last phone call was filled with confusion and strange statements like, "It's a game, we're in the Matrix." And then she vanished, only to be found dead days later. No signs of physical harm, so what really happened to Aaron Valenti? Despite investigations, her cause of death remains unknown, fueling speculation and conspiracy theories. A successful entrepreneur's life cut short, leaving behind a trail of questions and a legacy of mystery.
Normal looking photos that have a
That case is freaking kind of crazy, man. They said there's no signs of struggle, nothing, and her messages on the phone saying we're getting stuck in the matrix or something like that, bro. She's a tech entrepreneur at that, man. And the police, they can't find no leads or something, man. That case is looking fishy, bro. There has to be more. There has to be more to that, man. Or or the police or something just missing some details, or something else sinister that happened, bro, to her. I remember seeing all these like freaking reports of how like all these freaking billionaires and stuff was passing away, man. That's another one, bro. So gotta pay attention, man, together, bro. Tell me what you guys think.
disturbing backstory. On Christmas Day in 1929, Charlie Lawson would murder his wife, 6 of his 7 children, and take his own life. This photo shows a nice, large family vacationing in Sweden in the 70s. The kid in the brown shirt, however, is a 14-year-old boy named Osama. Years later, Osama bin Laden founded the pan-Islamic militant group Al-Qaeda and was responsible for the 9/11 attacks. This is the last known photo ever taken of comedian Robin Williams. It was captured October 8th, 2014, just one day before he took his own life. This rare picture shows a man playing with kids in his neighborhood. If you don't recognize him, this is one of America's most infamous serial killers, Ted Bundy. This photo shows Michael and Susan Kuhnhausen after being married for 18 years. In 2006, Michael hired a hitman to kill his wife. However, Susan choked the man with her bare hands, saying, "Tell me who sent you here, and I'll call you an ambulance."
This is another part in my series about accidents that have happened.
That man would have hired a hit man to take out his wife, and she had the freaking strength to fight back and say, "Who sent you?" What the heck? What type of hitman was that, bro? What the hell? Goes to show you never know what a person is truly capable of, bro. He thought his wife was probably a pushover or something, man. I gotta do some more research about that case, man. That's an interesting case, bro. That's crazy, man. Never underestimate somebody, bro. Never. You guys know the drill.
In national parks. And today I want to talk about Half Dome, which is one of the top 5 most dangerous things in any national park. And a reminder to check out my podcast if you're interested in this stuff. So the hike up Half Dome is probably one of the most terrifying things that people are allowed to do in a national park. The hike is about 16 miles long and it goes up 5,000 feet. And a lot of the hike is on flat rock, which is why you don't really want to do it when it's raining or when there's any weather. The craziest part of the hike is where you go up almost vertically with just these cables to guide you. This is the part where people fall off. In 2007, Hirofumi Nohara was hiking this with his friends when he fell. It was completely dry that day, which was why it was kind of weird that he fell. Basically, his leg slipped and caught on one of these poles, which spun him around, and then he cascaded down the side of the rock. He fell about 300 feet, and everyone that was in line climbing this part just had to watch it happen. They couldn't do anything. He was only 150 feet from the top when it happened too. It's crazy dangerous, but it also looks beautiful, so would you ever do this hike?
You won't believe
Not
what
me.
this woman did.
Would you?
In 1972, a woman appeared in a Los Angeles hospital wearing nothing but a white dress covered in red liquid. But this wasn't an ordinary woman. Her face almost looked like a mannequin. She did not have any eyebrows, and her face was smeared in makeup. It even gets creepier because the woman had a kitten in her mouth. She threw it on the floor and collapsed. She was then rushed into a hospital room. She was completely calm, expressionless, and motionless. However, when it was time to sedate her, she lashed out, and 2 nurses had to hold her down. The doctor asked her, "What are you?" She then turned to the doctor and smiled, revealing that she did not have normal human teeth. She had razor-sharp teeth. She signaled him down to her as if to whisper in his ear. She then attacked him, and while he lay on the floor suffering, she leaned over top of him and said, "I am God." She has never been seen since then.
I'm not kidding when I say one of the weirdest mysteries
Creepy
I've
story.
ever heard about just got solved. So for 4 years in Brooklyn, this one community was tormented by a serial litterer. And I'm not talking about like throwing napkins on the ground. No, every Sunday for the last 4 years, someone was ripping thousands of pages out of books and just littering them everywhere. And they were like weird, like it'd be entire sections of the Bible spread out throughout the streets. People said they found X-rated images from magazines in the 70s. And sometimes there were like passages highlighted, so people thought it was maybe some sort of code. And no one knew who it was or if it was even intentional until this video, where you can see someone deliberately throwing the pages outside of their car. And then once people realize it's intentional, it's like, okay, is this some sort of like fetish? And finally, one neighbor's like, I have to figure out who this is. So they do multiple overnight stakeouts just sitting in the street. And they figure out who it was. It was a cop. It was this cop, John Trasinski. He had apparently gotten in trouble for littering before and lost 1 vacation day over it, which kinda actually makes me think that it was a fetish thing. Anyways, if you like weird dark stuff, you'll probably like my podcast.
In this video, you learn
That is weird, bro. I didn't know people had a fetish for littering, bro. He was a serial litter. And he was a cop doing this, man. And they got mad because I guess he took one of his vacation days off of littering and he just decided to take it out on the whole neighborhood, bro. Goes to show you sometimes, man. People are sometimes into weird things, man. Hey, I'm not one to judge, but that's just freaking crazy, man. You guys know the drill.
learn about a disease that makes people crazy. Hey, what's going on, guys? Patient 1 and 2 brought to the emergency room on the same day. Stage 1, week 1. Alright, dude. Patients begin to smile with some resistance. Stage 2, week 2. Holy crap. First of all, bro on the right lost his hair. Faces begin to contort to a wide grin. Patient's behavior becomes predatory, so this is when they become dangerous.
Yeah, for like the damn Joker.
Stage 3, week 4. Okay, wow. Fungus has permanently damaged facial tissue. I was gonna say, it looks like they're just falling apart at this point, leaving a severely contorted face. Vocal cords have stopped functioning due to extreme strain.
Can't even speak.
Stage 4, week 5. What happened to Rebecca Coram on the Disney Wonder cruise ship? Imagine setting sail on a Disney cruise filled with joy and excitement, only to vanish without a trace. This is the chilling story of Rebecca Coram. On March 21st, 2011, the Disney Wonder cruise ship left Los Angeles for Port of Vallarta, Mexico. Among the crew was 24-year-old Rebecca Coram from Chester, England. She was a cheerful young woman who worked with the children on board. But as the ship sailed towards the horizon, Rebecca was about to disappear, leaving behind a mystery that remains unsolved. Rebecca was last seen on CCTV footage from the crew lounge, visibly upset and engaged in a tense conversation over the phone. Assuring a concerned crew member that she was just fine, she hung up the phone and walked off, never to be seen again. But what happened next raises more questions than answers. Despite the extensive search by the U.S. Coast Guard and the Mexican Navy, Rebecca was nowhere to be found. The investigation was filled with missteps and inconsistencies, leading many to question if the truth about Rebecca's disappearance is being concealed. What really happened to Rebecca Coram on that fateful trip? The mystery continues to haunt us.
Normal looking photo.
That's crazy, man. She just went on a freaking cruise ship and she had like a freaking tense conversation on the phone. She disappeared, bro, to this freaking day, man. They still don't know where she's at. There has to be some foul play involved, man. They know something, man. They just not trying to release it to the public, bro. I said sometimes, man, I'm iffy on cruises, man. Tell me what you guys think. Are you guys book cruise ships or those trips and stuff, man? I don't know about those, bro. I want to hear you guys' thoughts down below on that.
Photos that have a disturbing backstory. While this photo looks like it's some prop from Halloween, it's an actual living two-headed dog that was created in 1959 by a mad Soviet scientist. He managed to create a two-headed dog that could smell, move, see, hear, and even bark. While this appears to be an ordinary doll, it belongs to a Russian scholar, Anatoly Moskvin, who was arrested in 2011 for having the mummified remains of young girls in his apartment. Police found 26 of these dolls in his home. This photo shows 23-year-old Tina Tintor hugging her dog Max. One day, after taking Max for a walk, the two were driving home when they were killed in a fiery car crash by a drunk NFL player. This wooden headbox is designed to prevent light, sound, or air from getting inside. In 1970, Colleen Stam was abducted by a serial killer and locked inside it for 7 years. This image shows Marie Joseph taken the day she drowned while swimming in a public pool. However, her body wasn't found for 48 hours, and during this time, people would swim around the pool while she was decomposing at the bottom.
The United Kingdom has a problem with men stalking women. This is Lorraine Cox, a 32-year-old woman walking home after a night out. Following her, Asam Mangori, also known as Christopher Mayer. Now, watch this. Lorraine does a good job at staying calm, but it isn't enough. And this would be the last time she is seen. And now, a few days later, and guess who's inside that bag? Asam Mangori was found guilty of murder. But the fear for women walking the streets in the United Kingdom is still very much real.
We need to talk about.
Crazy, man. Freaking damn stalker, bro. You saw like when he walked next to her, man, she was trying to remain calm, I guess. Trying to like think of a situation, how to get out of it, man, but it was too late. And then he was walking around with her body in that big bag, bro. I didn't even know UK had this problem, man. Like I said, I'm just like you guys, bro. When I'm watching this, I learn new information all the time, man. It's opening and expanding my mind, bro. It's really even a horrific act, man. You guys know what
About
to do.
this photo. This photo was discovered by a single mother who recently bought a new phone. She came home, placed her phone on the table, and started watching TV. But soon after that, her son found the phone and asked to play with it. She agreed, thinking nothing unusual was gonna happen. But around 11 p.m. that same night, the mother decided it was time to go to bed. Strangely though, she found her son already in bed, which was very unusual for him. Normally, he'd want to stay up a lot longer. That's when she noticed her new phone was still in her son's hands. So she took it from him and unlocked the phone. At first, only seeing some minor changes. He changed the background on her phone and took a few pictures around the house, nothing too alarming. But since the photos seemed random, she started deleting them. Until she saw something that shocked her. This was the last photo on her camera roll, showing her son sleeping, but the photo was taken by someone else above him. Follow for more stories.
Never open your door to
You
a
want
child
on
at
that.
night, especially if their eyes are pitch black. It's a quiet suburban neighborhood. You're home alone when a knock echoes. Two children stand outside, their eyes as dark as the night itself. But these aren't ordinary children. There's something far more sinister. They ask to come in, their voices monotone. You feel an inexplicable dread. Reports suggest that they bring misfortune, even death, to those who let them in. You're about to close the door when one says, "We won't hurt you." Remember, never let the black-eyed children in. Beware of late-night walks in the woods. You never know what you might step on. In the dead of night, a young couple ventured into the dense forest. An eerie feeling crept over the man, but his girlfriend brushed it off. One evening, they watched an interview with a death row inmate. He recounted a night when a couple unknowingly stumbled upon his freshly committed crime in the woods. Their blood ran cold as the inmate revealed his identity, Ted Bundy. The couple was left haunted, realizing they had walked over a victim's body with a notorious killer lurking nearby. Always remember, the woods at night hide more than just the shadows. In 2017, an old woman who lived alone thought she saw something strange in her backyard. She went to the window to take a look. As she looked, she saw a shadowy figure standing outside. Scared, she watched the figure while calling the police, but when she hung up, the figure was gone. The police arrived and found her front door unlocked. They went in and saw her still sitting by the window. They searched the backyard but found nothing. When they checked inside the house, they found big footprints that weren't hers on the first floor. That's when they figured out what happened. The woman wasn't seeing a shadowy figure outside. She was seeing the reflection of someone who was in the room with her.
Stop. Stop.
That's crazy, man. All those stories you said, man, especially about the Ted Bundy one, man. Like I said, going traveling, that couple traveling at night, man. You never know, bro. Somebody's intentions, man. What you will stumble upon, man. Walking in the woods that late at night, man. Freaking give me chills, bro. That's something I can't do, man. You guys are in jail.
Stop scrolling if you want to know my terrible story. I was murdered by a 6-year-old friend over a piece of scrap metal. My name is Cecil Van Hoos, and this is my story. At the time of the incident, I am 8 years old and live in a mining town in eastern Kentucky. I have a friend named Carl Newton Mahan, who is 6 years old, and we play together very often. But everything changes on May 18th, 1929. On the day, we argue over a piece of scrap metal that we want to sell to a junk dealer for some money. Life is tough during the time, and people are struggling to survive. We find a piece of scrap metal, but I snatch it from his hands and tease him. Carl runs back to his house, climbs onto a chair, disassembles his father's double-barreled shotgun kept above the door, and then comes back outside. He shouts at me, "I'm going to shoot you," and pulls the trigger. Little did he know, in a matter of minutes, he becomes the youngest murderer in history. During the trial, which takes place less than a week after this tragedy, Carl tells the story, lies down on the attorney's table, and falls asleep from time to time. After 30 minutes of deliberation, he is found guilty of the lesser charge of involuntary manslaughter. Carl Carl is sentenced to 15 years in a correctional school. I am handed back to my parents in exchange for a $500 bond. Some people think it's too much, while others think it's not enough. Legal appeals follow. Eventually, a circuit court judge overturns the conviction and issues a brief ban preventing Carl from being sent to a reform school. Experts and psychologists disagree on whether Carl is a killer or a victim of circumstances and whether he has a grasp of right and wrong. The environment in which he grew up is also taken into account. In the end, Carl gets away with no further consequences and stays with his parents. He moves to Jefferson County, and Carl passes away in 1958 at the age of 35. Since this incident, the United States has established complex and evolving juvenile delinquency codes.
We need
Crazy,
to talk about
man.
this.
But it goes to show you, man, the evolution of law and man what it stands for, bro. Because they overturned his conviction. At first, he got 15 years at correctional facility, but then they overturned it because some people thought that was too tough. But he murdered this family with some scrap metal, man. So, and I guess and he died at a freaking young age, man. I don't know what was that, but hey, but it goes to show you, man, how laws and stuff evolve, man. How everything is changing, bro. Always gotta stay locked in, man.
Photo. This is what showed up in Emma's house over and over again, asking her the same question every time. The first time Emma saw this creature, she was in 4th grade. She heard a loud noise in her bedroom, followed by faint scratching sounds. She jumped out of her bed and tried to run into her mom's room, and that's when she saw it. Slowly, it moved towards her, its mouth stretching wide open, asking her one question. How old are you? Emma told this creature her age, and it replied, not yet. But the terrifying thing is, this creature came back over and over again. No matter where she moved, every 4 years this creature would appear in Emma's house. Her mother never believed her, saying it was just a recurring nightmare. But Emma knew something was targeting her, waiting for the right moment. And on the night before her 18th birthday, she was proven right. That night, this creature appeared again, but this time it said something different. It asked Emma, how old are you? And she replied, 17. The creature then stood silently before croaking out the words, next time. Emma turns 21 soon, and she's been up every night, paranoid and terrified that any time now she'll find out exactly what the creature meant when it said next time. Like and follow for more.
I think there's some more research on that story. I don't know if that's a mom playing with her or something else. Oh,
hello?
what the hell?
Is someone there?
Could be
This is
serious.
Officer Sarles, Garden Police Department.
Hi, what
You
can I
there?
help you with? Yeah, are you there?
Yes, I just chased the subject around your house, and I was making sure he wouldn't have came in here. Do you guys have any kids?
No, we don't have any kids.
And is there any younger adults that stay here?
It's just me and my husband. We both work during the day.
Okay.
Do I need to come
Okay,
home?
well, thank you. I appreciate it. No, you're fine.
All right,
Well,
I'm
if you
sorry.
could check, see if your camera picked up any motion.
Okay,
We're looking for a subject in a red t-shirt.
A red
Okay.
t-shirt? Give me a second.
Really?
He's in my trash can. He's in my dumpster in my
Where's that at?
backyard.
Oh.
He's in my trash can by my garage. The cops are at my front door. There's a...
Open that lid.
Man, bro. Think shit, they was at work, man, and the freaking she picked up the criminal, man. Like I said, you never know what's gonna happen, bro. Always gotta be vigilant. That's why you have to have cameras in place, man. Whew. Imagine they came home from freaking work, man, and the husband took out the trash and something terrible could have happened, bro. But they was prepared and vigilant. That's the way you gotta be, man.
If you have
That's
kids, you're going to want to hear this. I don't make my kids scrub toilets or do any crazy chores around the house because those are my jobs. But I do ask them to do simple things. Throw away their garbage in their bathroom, take out the garbage outside, make their bed, pick up their toy. Well, this mom in New Orleans told her 11-year-old child to go outside and toss the garbage. Tell me, how there was a car outside trying to lure this kid into the vehicle. There was a green Dodge Charger outside trying to make this kid get into the vehicle. And the kid was like, what the heck? Like, absolutely not. But the woman inside the vehicle, okay, started waving to the kid, like, get in, get in, get in. So the kid at this point, poor kiddo, okay, is freaked out. He comes inside the house with the trash. He never even got to, like, put the trash out. The mom knew that something was wrong. She looks outside, the car, like, literally sped off. But this is, like, the worst part. In one of my stories, I had talked about how I had called the police, and the police literally put me on hold. Like, the operator was like, please hold. Like, literally. And I've had so many people tell me, like, oh, that doesn't happen. When you call the police, they come right away, or they answer the phone. No, it doesn't. It doesn't always happen that way. Because guess what? A lot of crime calls at that time, your call is not going to be a priority because there's other things that are taking precedence over your request, right? Well, this mom freaking calls the police. Guess what? Well, the police, they literally took hours to come to respond to this, to investigate. And then the police finally comes and they investigate and they're like, yeah, we don't really think that it was an attempted kidnapping. Yes, because your investigation that occurred hours after the fact that the perpetrators were actually gone, okay, gave you enough evidence to determine that. Well, guess what? Mom and the kiddo, they feel super unsafe. This happened in New Orleans, and they're probably going to have to move to another neighborhood because, no, I would probably do the same thing.
Gotcha, man. I didn't know that. She said she called the police and they put her her call on hold. Like I said, I thought if you called the police, they would just right away, man. But what she kind of did, what she said, this kind of makes sense. How she said some of the calls might take priority if something not happening now, bro. But I can't believe it took hours to get there, man, after attempted kidnapping, bro. And they said they didn't have enough evidence. Of course, the car sped off, so you're not gonna see them now, man. But they should have tried to at least investigate the area, bro. Now that whole family got to move, man, because she feels unsafe. You guys know the drill, bro.
This is the longest true horrifying story episode. This episode is worth the time. The story took place in Nador, Morocco in the year 2015. The story was submitted by Ilyas. Back in 2015, Ilyas was an 18-year-old Moroccan Muslim that lived in Norway. One night, Ilyas was back in Morocco visiting family, and he stayed up late watching a movie at home till 3 in the morning. The living room was very warm, so he got up to open the window for fresh air. As he was at the window, being at the 4th floor in that building, he looks down, and the street was dark and empty, but there was one man wearing black from head to toe with a hood covering his face. He wasn't sure why that man was outside at that time. He looked away, but then peeked one last time out of curiosity. When he looked at him again, the man had his hands on a building's wall. He was strangely just feeling the wall, and out of nowhere, the man vanishes through that wall. He rubbed his eyes in disbelief after what he just witnessed. Ilyas swears that there was no door in that spot. It was just physically impossible. He forgets about this after a while, and then flies back to Norway. 6 months later, in Norway, Ilyas experiences his first ever sleep paralysis, which in Islam is known as Jathum. He vividly remembers having a conversation with a dark figure, and his mom also witnessed him speak in his sleep. He woke up after the paralysis with swollen feet and rashes all over his body. They rushed to the ER, and none of the doctors could diagnose what caused his body to react that way. He was finally discharged after treatment, but after that day, Ilyas was never the same person. He always acted differently. He was antisocial. He was distant from people. and his mom always told him that he needed the ruqya. A few months later, they fly back to Morocco for the next holiday season. He was always against his mother's ruqya idea. However, he decided to fight his thoughts and do it. He had a cousin that was also suffering, and she visited Araki in Morocco quite regularly. So they went together with both of their moms. When they reached, they sat down and waited for their session. Ilyas could hear the Raqi in the other room, and he felt extremely uneasy and started to sweat. The Quran recitation, the ruqya, the sounds, made him not even want to look at that direction. He was angry. He went outside for a moment to gain back his senses until their turn finally reached. The Raqi called them in and started. Ilyas's cousin immediately started reacting horribly when the Quran started. She was screaming so loud. Ilyas started losing senses throughout his entire body. He was sweating, he was unable to move, and he was shouting from fear. He does pray, and he does read Quran, but he was so confused as to why he was screaming. He felt like he was being tortured. The slightest pinch from the Raqi felt like it was a knife stab. It was very powerful, and this is where he felt a jinn's presence inside of him. The following night was the most horrific night for Ilyas. For a whole week, the man was not able to sleep alone, and he would get mentally abused by these demons haunting him. Weeks go by. Ilyas started getting demonic thoughts of harming his own family. He hated everyone. When he would look at his own sister, her face would seem distorted to him. He knows these beings are playing with his head. His whole life turned upside down. He would regularly think of harming his own family, but luckily, he never did. A few months later, Ilyas was back in Norway, and life was back to normal. He was relieved that he was in a good state of mind and that the horror was over. At the time, he worked at a local grocery store. After a Christmas celebration at work, which he did not participate in, it was late at night. He was walking one of his colleagues back home from work. She was a young woman, and she was scared to walk alone. After they reached outside her place, she asked him, "Where's that other girl that was with us?" "What girl?" Ilyas asked. "There was no one there. It was just you and I." She swore that there was another woman with black hair, pale skin, standing next to him the whole time, staring at Ilyas's colleague with anger. Even though this entity gave Ilyas a break, this jinn was still around, haunting everyone that has intentions towards Ilyas.
It's a gym story, bro. Just goes to show how those jinns or demonic spirits or whatever you want to call them, how they messed them up, man. Took a while for them to settle down, but at the end, it seemed like that energy or spirit was still around them, bro. Crazy, man. YouTube, that's it, man, for this video for you guys today, man. Like I said, guys, in order for us to grow even faster, man, I just need you guys to hit that like button, subscribe. It's free. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, man, so I really appreciate the support, man. Also, like I said, tell me in the comment section down below, guys, if you guys have any ideas for the community name. I'm trying to name us at the end of the month. Guys, I'm catching the next ones. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.